It's time for Living Your Purpose, a motivational and inspirational podcast with Peter and Joyce Nielsen.
Hey everybody, welcome to Living Your Purpose. My name is Peter, Joyce Nielsen, and we are just happy to be here. You know, whether you're listening or watching from the West Coast to East Coast, my friends up in Canada, or anywhere in the world, whether it's on Spotify, whether you're watching us on YouTube, we just want to say thank you. If you do like this content, just press the subscribe button below. We appreciate you. You know, I know that we get so many people, whether it's on social media or through email at peter@peternielsen.com, asking questions, and we will get to a lot of your questions. That's what we're here to, is to sow into you and to serve. But there is a few questions, or at least one question that someone had that we were going to talk about today.
Yeah, it's actually someone that's been to one of your speaking events before. It was a fundraiser for celiac disease. Jim Bramman from Canton, Michigan. Hi, Jim. Thank you for your email and all the information. For all of you listening there, I just wanted to give you a little background because today's topic is going to be a healthy way to gain weight and muscle for those of you that are on the thinner side that have a hard time keeping it on. And Jim was diagnosed with celiac disease. He's 5'9", 142 pounds. He used to be 150, and no matter what he does, he cannot get back up to that weight. And he's been working with a nutritionist, eating 3,000 calories a day, struggling to take in 110 grams of protein a day, and he's still not gaining the weight. Because his celiac disease, he is gluten-free. He's allergic to peanuts and nuts, and he does eat dairy, even though he knows he's not supposed to. He's active. He plays hockey. He's on a 70 and older team. He's 72.
Bless his heart.
So the big question of the day is, you know, what are ways for people that are on the thinner side that are having a hard time and really struggling to get to an ideal, healthy, heavier weight, whether it's just a little bit more fat and muscle, but a healthy fat?
You know, it's a great question, and it's probably one of the biggest questions that we get asked. I get asked, you know, having Crohn's disease, 2 near-death experiences, losing 3 feet of my ileum where you absorb all your nutrients when the food goes through your intestines, is very challenging. So people all over the world will reach out and say, how did you win, Mr. America, Mr. Universe? And nutrition is so important with God's help. But I just want to first define, celiac disease is very similar, but very different than Crohn's. Crohn's is basically an autoimmune condition that will affect anywhere from your esophagus to your anus, where colitis will affect just your large colon. Celiac disease is basically not being able to digest an aspect of a protein compound that is in barley, wheat, or rye. So, and all of those things have gluten. So a person that has celiac disease cannot digest gluten and will give inflammation, will give diarrhea, will give just discomfort. So I can understand his question on not being able to gain weight. I think it's a great question. And Jim, I just hope that you're doing well. I hope that I can shed some light on this. I think the first thing for anyone that's listening, whether you have, you know, a physical challenge with your digestive tract, whether it's celiac disease, Crohn's, colitis, IBS, inflammatory bowel disease, is that you can't throw the kitchen sink, so to speak, at you wanting to gain weight. What you need to do is you need to journal what you're eating. So I wouldn't introduce more than 1 or 2 foods in a week's period of time, so that you know a food will affect you negatively or positively within 4 hours up to 48 hours. So a lot of times, even, you know, our children or the young generation, they'll just eat a lot of garbage and then they get a bellyache, but we really don't know sometimes what was bothering them, what was the culprit. I remember having the blessing of an opportunity to have a mentor, Donald Peterson. We just lost him. He was the CEO of Ford Motor Company, and he was the chairman of the board. And I just said, how do you run this multi-billion-dollar company? And I was training him and his wife for over 10 years. And he said something to me that was profound, almost on what I was just saying about kids eating everything. He said, Peter, he says, when something would break in Ford Motor Company, he says, what I would do is be very analytical and very detailed and just start eliminating one thing at a time. He said, it took a little longer, he says, but 9 times out of 10, if we added just one thing or we eliminated one thing, we knew what the problem was or what the solution was. Instead of getting into an emergency mode, you know, with a Fortune 500 company, and you have a fire, so to speak, in business, and you're trying to throw everything at it, it goes away. Sometimes you never know what the cause was. And to kind of just come back full circle in nutrition, with you, Jim, or other people, when you journal what you're eating, you're going to know within 4 hours to 2 days on if the food that you just started to incorporate is bothering you. You may get, like I do, a geographical tongue. You may get cramps. You may get bloat, gas, diarrhea, blood in your stool, feeling very malice and fatigue, losing weight. These are all signs that your body is not utilizing and absorbing nutrients. So it's very, very important to do it slow. So what I would say is, and I talked to you about it recently on a little trip that we took, that a lot of times actors or actresses that need to be apart, and they may need to gain like 40 pounds to do this part, and they're going to make millions of dollars for it, and they're eating, you know, artery clogging ice cream and cheeseburgers and peanut butter, and they're just lacing on this fat. That is everything on which you should not do when you're looking to put on healthy weight. So you want to do it slow. What I would say, one of the things that you need to know is, for people that have celiac disease, you, Jim, and millions of other people that have inflammatory bowel disease, is you want to bring inflammation down. So you don't want to have things that are going to be irritants to trying to put on weight, such as dairy, which I know that you mentioned that he's still having it and he knows better. I'm a good listener. And that would mean cheese, pizza, ice cream, alcohol, an irritant, beef, pork, bacon, steaks. These are all ham. These are all irritants that are going to cause anyone, even with a healthy digestive tract, inflammation. So what I say to you, Jim, and to everyone that's listening, is to try to live on an anti-inflammatory eating plan or eating regimen. And certain natural things that will help bring inflammation down are God-given spices, and you use them in your delicious cooking all the time.
Yes, cayenne goes in almost
Right,
everything.
right. Cayenne,
Yeah.
you use turmeric, ginger,
Yes.
rosemary, green tea extract, triple virgin olive oil. We love as a family salmon, omega-3 essential fatty acids.
Turkey's a staple in the household.
Right. So all of
Yeah.
these things that I just mentioned are anti-inflammatory, other than the turkey, but it has nowhere near the irritants as beef or dairy or ham or bacon. It's much, much healthier, and it's in the category of, say, fish, which is a better source of protein where you can still put on muscle. But the other thing, Joyce, that I think a lot of people don't do, and we do as a family, is we have colorful vegetables. and we put it on a bed of, say, rice. And then you put on some triple virgin olive oil. So let's just take that one little paragraph that I just spoke about. The vegetables have antioxidants, phytoestrogens, phytochemicals. They have carotenoids, and color is king in the produce section. So a lot of these things are bringing the risk of inflammation, the risk of disease down. The rice is a starchy carbohydrate. So for people that want to facilitate lose excess body fat, I always say avoid starchy carbohydrates after lunchtime, or eliminate them and substitute them for fibrous complex carbohydrates like vegetables and fruits. But for you, Jim, and for people that are really struggling to gain healthy weight and muscle, starchy carbohydrates are your friend. And I'm not talking about processed, garbage, cereals or stuff. I'm talking about oatmeal. I'm talking about rice. I'm talking about yams with some more triple virgin olive oil instead of butter. So you're still getting fat, but one fat is saturated. It's an irritant. It's going to bother your stomach. The other fat, which is your olive oil, it's anti-inflammatory, so it's going to bring inflammation down, but it still has 9 calories per gram, just as butter does, but it's healthy for you, so it's going to be great calorically, and it's going to be great for anti-inflammatory. So those things that I just mentioned, your starchy carbohydrates, your omega-3 essential fatty acids, coming in the form of salmon, coming in the form of herring, of mackerel, even tuna has it, as well as triple virgin olive oil. Walnuts have it. Different nuts have it if you're vegan. These are ways, and nuts are great, especially if you're looking to gain healthy weight. There's a little caveat that I want to mention for someone like Jim. If you do have celiac disease, or even Crohn's disease, colitis, a lot of times your intestines get so inflamed and ulcerated that there's infection and inflammation and there's pockets. So you want to stay away from things that have skins on them, things that like kernels and popcorn.
Yeah, I know tomatoes bother you sometimes.
Because of the
skin.
seeds and the skin.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes, a great example, and thank you for bringing it up. It's like for people that have digestive issues, I always say too much fiber. The average American gets 12 grams of fiber a day. We should be getting 25 grams to 30 grams of fiber a day. And if I have too much fiber, having Crohn's, it could put me in the hospital by having fiber coming from some of the things that you were just mentioning. So what I say to do is overcook, which I would never say this to someone like you, Joyce, or someone that's healthy with a healthy digestive tract. I would say have your vegetables al dente, where they're just slightly cooked, so you're getting that beta carotene, you're getting that enriched antioxidants, because we're finding out in hard cruciferous vegetables like your cauliflower and broccoli and carrots, they're so hard that when you chew on them raw, it's hard for them to release their antioxidants. When you just denature them by heating them, even for a few minutes, or putting them on the grill, now they're what in Italian they're called al dente, where they're semi-hard, semi-soft, just right for eating, and that's when you get the most amount of nutritional value. So for people that do have inflammatory bowel disease, I would say cook your vegetables a little more so that you can digest them, and they're not going to give you heartache or stomach ache, so to speak, when it comes to stuff like that.
What would you recommend? How much protein should you be taking in every day if you're trying to put on weight? And what are the best kinds of protein to have?
Great question. You know, and it's interesting that you say that. A lot of times a person won't think of protein when they're looking to gain weight. Sometimes they just think of fat. And then other times people, when they're looking to gain muscle, they won't think of protein. Right. They won't think of protein as building muscle. They'll just eat anything to try to get bigger. So I think it's a great question. But for the rule of thumb, generically, I would say that for a person that's, just so you know, every cell in your body is made up of protein, nitrogen, and then some. So the more that you work out, the more that you deplete your protein storage. If every cell in your body is made up of protein and you work out, you're depleting that, you're breaking that down, so it needs a new daily replacement every day. So in saying that, is that if a person's working out, say 3 times a week, and they're looking to put on some muscle, they should be having at least 1/4 of a gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight. If a person is working out and wants to get into bodybuilding or really put on some serious muscle, then they should be getting at least 1/2 a gram to 3/4 of a gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight. There's another caveat here that's very important. If you're on certain medication, if you have kidney dysfunction, if your kidney function is not where it's supposed to be, too much protein is harsh on your kidneys. So if you're having more protein, make sure you drink tons of water, half your ideal body weight in ounces of water every day to flush out any excess protein and toxicities. You know.
It's a lot of information. I hope you guys are taking notes.
A lot of information.
He was also inquiring, but we just did a podcast on this, how to track macros. So you can go back a couple weeks ago and there's a whole podcast on macros to tell you how much that you should be eating and how to track that. You can also go to peternielsen.com and you can get a custom macronutrient plan made just for you, along with meal planning and certain exercises put for you. And that was another question, is how do you find a good personal trainer?
Well, I am super excited, and timing is everything, so that I can say this for one of the first times. But if you go, I have a new landing page, and it's called transformwithpeter.com. And to answer the question that you have, that everyone in the nation has been asking me, it's one of our most popular questions. How many calories should I be having every day, Peter? How much protein should I be having? What are macronutrients? How many grams of fat should I have? How many grams of carbohydrates should I have? So I literally put together a 12-week program course that literally gives you all that individually for you. So all you need to do is go to transformwithpeter.com, and you'll just be guided to where you can sign up for this course. It's something that I wanted to do to give back to everybody, because it's hard to answer everyone's questions. And most of the way we answer the questions is through our TV show, our podcast, at appearances, on social media. So this is where I get very intimate, and there's 12 modules that I'm really proud of. Chris Knowles produced these, with Chris Jarvis, and Kyle did all the editing on it. So I have a great team of people that put this together. So again, if you're interested in wanting to know how much macros you should be having, what are macros, how much carbohydrates, fat, or protein, how many calories should you be having each day to lose excess body fat, go to transformwithpeter.com, and you'll get all that information, And I'm just glad that you were able to find out of so many, the hundreds of different emails that we get. This was a great email, and it's from somebody that's in the state of Michigan, in Canton, I think it is. Mm-hmm. And I just wish you, Jim, nothing but blessings when it comes to your health. I hope that you truly just feel good and have more quality in your life, as well as everyone that's watching or listening, because really, babe, that's what it's all about. I mean, our health is our wealth. You could have all the money in the world, you could live in the greatest house, drive the most wonderful car, but if your body breaks down, 9 out of 10 times you're the dog chasing the car, and the dog usually never catches the car. And that's the sad part when someone loses their health. So invest in your body and your temple now, and as you get older, God willing, your body will take care of you. I hope that each and every one of you just have a great rest of your week. If you'd like to catch us on our Peter's Principles nationally syndicated worldwide TV show, you can find us on Astound TV network Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time. You can also find us worldwide on DBTV, on Roku, every Saturday and Sunday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. And if you can't find us on social media and that, you don't want to find us, because we've been really, God has blessed us where there's so many platforms where people could find what we're doing. And the reason why I get up every morning, and this woman has been the most amazing partner in life, is I just want to love on each and every one of you. I wouldn't wish anyone to go through what I've been through, or people like Jim with celiacs, or myself with Crohn's, or whatever physical challenge that you're going through. I think I would like to leave with this. We name this podcast Living Your Purpose. Get off of the sidelines, get back in the game, and truly know that you were born with a purpose, to live a purposeful life. And speak life and champion your own life, no matter what anyone says. And whatever you're going through, know it's just a temporary situation. As my grandmother always said, this too shall pass. So we love you, God bless you, and we'll see you next week. Hi, I'm Peter Nielsen. I'm excited because I'm going to be with you every Saturday and Sunday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on DBTV Network. We'll be dealing with nutrition because you are what you eat. Physical activities, whether it's indoors or outdoors, as well as wonderful things you could do with your entire family. Let's get better together, mind, body, and spirit.
Tune in to Peter's Principles every Saturday and Sunday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on DBTV Network.